Oh, hello YouTube. Tonight we are going to be doing an episode on the Enforcer, mech in Battletech, and for those who don't know, this is an Enforcer. This is something that's actually sitting on my work desk. I've actually kept on many of my office desks at jobs. Quick little backstory on this is I've been a long-time user of the BTG threads in 4chan's TG system. The official forums for Battletech stink, to put nicely. I don't want to bash them too much, but there's issues, we'll say that. It's not a very happy place. And oddly enough, regardless of what you think of 4chan, that their Battletech thread is the happiest, nicest place. And long story short, a user many years ago posted that his sister was going to art school and was trying to raise some money, and she was cartooning and things like that. And I commissioned this Enforcer, and I love it very much, and I believe that I helped her get to school. That's great, and I hope she's doing well. So the Enforcer is my favorite mech, I would argue, and we're going to talk a little bit about it tonight. So you have a very simple, boring picture, but that's not what this is about as much as we're going to talk about the Enforcer. Now, the Enforcer is a traditionally Davion mech. It comes from Introtech, and it is armed with a large laser, an autocannon 10, and a small laser. As you can see, the main guns are in its arms, which is a nice thing. The fact that the Enforcer is not very heavily armored, I should say, either. So it tends to lose those. The other issue with the Enforcer is most of its armor is front, so you get behind one, it's an issue. It's a 464 mech, so decent speed for intro attack. Jump jets are always a plus, but it's not the best scrapper, and with 10 rounds only for the AC-10, they can run dry, especially in campaigns. Now, if you do alternate ammo, which I'm a huge fan of, you're down to, some of those options are 5, like precision or armor piercing. So it gets dry quickly, and at that point you are down most of your firepower. Within 3 hexes, though, you have 21 points of damage, which is great to run a PSR. So it's nice, but this mech is not something I'd want to get into 3 hexes with you for almost anything else in its weight class. So the basic one, which I've just talked about, is the 4R Enforcer. There are other Enforcers. There's also the Enforcer 3, which comes because Victor Steiner, Davion, loved his Enforcers, and well, as adorable as he was, he knew they were better, and they ran a lot of 3s. I guess the Lost Tech ones, or the ones that came out during the Clan Invasion, are considered 2s, but there's no official 2. So they just went from Enforcer to fancy Enforcers, and he's running things like XLs and ERs for weaponry to this. And then you have the 3s, which we won't cover in this video. We're not going to bore you too terribly much. So the one that came out in the 3050s, the 5D, as I said, very simple. It runs an LB10 and an ER large laser as well, and a 200 XL. This is not a mech I like an XL on whatsoever. They're just too easy to pop. Let's just be frank. It's not the heaviest armored. It's not a great brawler. It's a very good trooper, though. So you want to have it out. You want to keep it out. Now, to be fair, the LBX-10 is probably one of the best weapons in Battletech, period, be it video games or tabletop. The LBX-10s are just awesome. Great range, great heat, options to run a cluster or your slug. The LBX-10 I can't speak highly enough of, so it's not a bad mech. And we have the Enforcer 5R, which is an LFE, so it's a light fusion engine. Not quite as bomby as an XL, but, you know, we still get a little more speed out of it, and it has an RE laser on it, which we're not going to talk about RE lasers. Re-engineered lasers are a meme, and they cause me to drink. We'll say that much. The other, we moved to the Enforcer 3, we don't have a ton of variants. The other ones are is the 2 Daniels, which run either a prototype or later on a production level Gauss rifle and backed up with medium lasers. They're good mechs, they're very nice. It's a great way to run around with a Gauss rifle. I think we don't need to speak enough to anybody who knows Battletech how good Gauss rifles are, but, you know, it's a 50-ton Gauss rifle that can hold a little bit of ammo. It can hold a little bit of a fight. One can argue about how useful it is, but I tend to think it's a decent build. Now, as far as the other 2 that we're going to mention, or a couple others we're going to mention, are ones that are non-canon. They're in MechWarrior Online or MechWarrior 5. They are also many more features that in different things like Battletech Advanced, Rogue Tech, Battletech Expanded, blah, 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 blah. But we're only going to really cover the ones that are in MechWarrior Online and MechWarrior 5 because those are closest to canon, I guess we could argue. The 4P runs an AC-20 and a medium laser. I'm going to be honest, AC-20s are awesome. I like them. They're a 9-hex death bubble, but I don't like in the Enforcer. I'd much rather have a Yen Lo Wang styled Centaurian. It just doesn't have as much brawl, and you really need to brawl with an AC-20. You need to be able to get into that 9-hex range, and you need to be able to punch back and take a punch. The Enforcer, I would strip all its jump jets out and be really ready to scram. If you're playing a game, yes, you can do your Pop-Tart and drop an AC-20 round into something, which is glorious. On tabletop, it doesn't work out as well, I don't think, and just the abrasive 2 medium lasers is not a decent enough backup for coming in. Yes, you force your PSRs, but I've not been lucky with it, and I don't think it's great. It's a personal preference. Maybe you've had better times with it on the table. And then we have the 5P, which runs 2 UAC 5s. Those are all Shriner kinds. Another thing where there's nothing nice about it, to be frank. I don't really see anything useful. Then there's the MechWarrior Online, the hero. It's called the Gilly, which has a Guardian ECM, which is awesome, but gives you the perk of also you can convert to stealth. But yeah, I don't want to talk about MechWarrior Online too much. There's many other people that do that and play it a lot, so we'll let them deal with it. Now, the last one we want to touch on, I want to brag a little bit about, was actually named after one of my favorite variants and one I play on tabletop as well as for MechWarrior Online. It is the ENF AS. That was for another screen name of mine. It is 2 large lasers, an AC-10, 2 tons of ammo, and a 200 XL. This is a great brawl mech. I love it. It works so well. I have a lot of fun with it. You can just come in, you fight, but and I should say, get out of the way, and I've been playing Battletech Advanced 3062 since it's released. I've been helping out with that as much as I can. The developer is an awesome guy. The Discord's great for all that stuff, and I would normally consider Discord an embarrassing cancer, but it's a place to hang out for that group because they're very cool. So look into Battletech Advanced 3062 if you enjoy playing HBS Battletech and you want more Battletech theory. But that mech was actually bestowed upon me as one of my favorite settings and something I really like to play, both on the tabletop and in the game. It's a lot of fun. There's also a build of mine in MechWarrior Online, which I do eventually fire up. It's not exactly meta or anything, but it's very brawly. I like it. And keep yourself in a good 300-meter range, and you just scrub into things, and you can stay in. But when you're playing that version on the tabletop, you also have 2 tons of ammo to work with, so you can mix up to do what you need. One could argue switching out for an LBX to save a ton, and then you're reduced, but I tend to really, really enjoy using alternate ammos, and I think just the basic LB10, is great. As I said, it's probably one of the best weapons in the game. But I also really enjoy the flavor of things. And an LBX-10, that shotgun doesn't feel quite as an enforcer to me as much as a big punch from a thing. I mean, you could argue the slug will do it, but as I said, for me, flavor is very important. And just a basic autocannon, I think, fits the flavor a little more. But I just wanted to do kind of something different here. I haven't really talked about a lot of things, and this is a long, rambling video about the Enforcer, and you're just looking at a picture of one. So that's going to be our video. We're going to try to keep it under 10 minutes, because who really cares? We're talking about the Enforcer. There's a lot of people who are more educated, play better, and do better videos for Battletech and everything, but this is just a little me stepping in talking about the Enforcer, because it's one of my favorite mechs, and it means a lot to me, and I have a bunch of minis and all that good stuff. So there's our video, and then I hope you've learned a little bit about the Enforcer. Any questions or comments, thoughts about anything in Battletech, please feel free to list them up and hit the comments and likes and all that good stuff. So there's that. Enjoy.